Welcome to UpFront. This is Tekla Ali Johnson, and we are here today with our special guest, Mayhue Bastic, and we really want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
We're excited, as you know, this is all about jazz here at UpFront, and so can we talk a little bit about your background? And
Certainly.
maybe your childhood, what attracted you to music, what happened to draw you to this art form, and whether musicians in your family, what happened? How did you get into music?
Certainly. I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went to South Mecklenburg High School. I played in the marching band there. I went to Quail Hollow Junior High School. I played in the concert band there. I went to Our Lady of Consolation, a Catholic school here in Charlotte, where I started playing flute in the 3rd grade. I started playing the trumpet in the 4th grade. So that's been my educational background as far as, as a child growing up here in Charlotte. My father was a flautist. He played flute. My mother's...
What's your father's name, by the way? Because I think you said, did he play with Michael Porter? Or?
No. My father was Reverend Mayhue Bastic Jr. He
Okay.
was the pastor for Salem Baptist Church here in Charlotte.
Okay.
He was from Camden, New Jersey,
Okay.
and went to Johnson C. Smith University.
Ah, you didn't say that. Did he play in the band over there?
He did. He played football for Johnson C. Smith University.
Okay. Now about your mother. So.
My mother is from Matthews, North Carolina.
And was she a pianist or not?
No, she didn't play music at all,
Okay.
but she and my father met there at Johnson C. Smith.
Okay.
My mother was a teacher. She was an elementary school teacher.
Learning what I didn't know. So what about your entree then into music as a professional, musician? So how did that happen? What was the next step? Did you start playing with local bands, or was it through church? What happened next?
I started playing guitar in 1972 when I was 12 years old, and I started out as a classical guitarist. I played classical guitar for a couple of years, and then I started playing classic rock, and I played rock guitar until I entered college, which was in 1980, where I started playing jazz then. I played it in a local R&B and funk group.
In South Carolina?
No, yes, in South Carolina, in Sumter, South Carolina, as a matter of fact, where I went to college. I went to college at Morris College, a small Baptist-run religious school.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Now tell me, what were some of your favorite tunes at that time that drew you in? What was that?
My father introduced me to jazz. I grew up listening to jazz all my life.
Okay.
I listened to music from the time I was 4 or 5 years old up until when my dad died in 1980. But I grew up listening to his records, and I listened to all the great
Give me a
jazz
name.
music.
Give me a name.
Everybody: Herbie Hancock, Miles Davis, Clifford Brown, Howard McGee. I listened to a whole lot of instrumentalists: Shaheeb Shahab, Sam Rivers. I listened to almost every jazz musician you could probably think of: McCoy Tyner, Les McCann. I listened to everybody. John Coltrane, Charlie Parker.
Of course. Okay, so now talk about your influences besides those. Did you have any regional ones, local people who mentored you, worked with you, that kind of stuff? Teachers or?
Well, most of my influences came from what I listened to on the radio and what I had in my record collection. My earliest influences on guitar were Andre Segovia, because he was a classical guitarist and I played classical guitar. I listened to Julian Bream, I listened to Christopher Parkening.
Right.
They were my earliest influences.
But did you have anyone teaching you here, say like Charlotte or South Carolina, anyone teaching you that worked with you?
I was self-taught.
Wow.
And because I knew how to read music, I would just purchase books and just play what I read.
Right.
So I developed my sight reading, and I will say Van Sachs taught me how to play This Masquerade. We used to go down to this music store called the Music Scene right off Freedom Drive, and Van Sachs, he's a little older than me, and I'm many years, maybe 5 or 6. And he was a great jazz guitar player, and he took the time out to teach this 12-year-old boy how to play This Masquerade. So
you're the second person who said that these music stores that people used to actually play, at them and stuff like that.
And Gerard Benson, a bassist here, who I
Gerard.
truly admired. Well, I would say Van Sachs and Gerard Benson really influenced me as a kid when I was growing up.
Gerard worked with you too?
Yes, he did.
Cool. Nice to hear. Okay, what about what's happening, what's your theology of jazz music and what's happening in the music industry today? Where are jazz musicians in that right now?
Well, most people nowadays don't listen to a lot of classic jazz because it's not being played on the radio. All the radio stations mostly play funk, R&B, and pop music, rock and country.
Hip-hop.
A lot of music that we as jazz musicians revere is not being played on the radio, and people remember what they hear on the radio because that's most people's influence or their experience, their exposure to music.
Right.
So if it's not being played on the radio, many people don't know about it, unless in their homes their parents are exposing them.
Like you do with your kids.
Right.
Right.
And like my father did with me.
Right. That still seems like we're missing something though. Yeah. Just a little bit in terms of this generation out here.
Yes.
Although when they sample, you hear the music come up. I mean, you do hear it in the background. You do hear it in some of the rhythms and stuff like that. They may not know it, but it's still there. It's still there, right? Let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing, lately. With you have a lot going on. So in terms of some of the musical things that you've been into in the recent years, past 10 years, what are some of your major highlights been in your musical career? I know you studied.
Yes. I used to live in Greenville, South Carolina. I lived in Greenville, South Carolina from 1985 until 2012, where I went to Columbia, South Carolina to study at the University of South Carolina, working on my master's degree in jazz studies because I was teaching middle school band and I decided I wanted to teach college. Right. So I went to USC. I enrolled in USC in August of 2012, and I went there. And now what I'm doing, I'm playing with a local jazz group.
Well, hold on, I want to go back to that experience.
Okay, sure.
So let's take a quick break and listen to something that you've played recently. I would like to hear. What do you think you could play for me? You know what I want to hear. What do we do?
Around Midnight.
Around Midnight. Are you going to do it?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to hear Around Midnight and maybe a couple other tunes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is UpFront, and we are here with Mayhue Bastic. When we left off, we were talking about your education and teaching experience. Right. Where's that at right now? By the way, thank you for that piece. It was really nice.
You're welcome. Well, I was attending the University of South Carolina, working on my master's degree in jazz studies, and I left there in December of 2012. And I met Dr. L.H. Dickert, who is over the jazz department at Winthrop University. Such a nice man, awesome guitarist, awesome musician, and I decided to matriculate to Winthrop. I love the campus, I like the program there, so that's what I'll be doing. I've been working with him. And
you'll be there this spring then?
I hope to be, yes.
Exciting. We're going to hope for you that works out. It's really exciting. So what about people that you have enjoyed performing with or being in the studio with, performing live? Who's some of your favorite folks around town in terms of musicianship?
Well, in Charlotte, I love working with Tyrone Jefferson. He has a group called Sign of the Times. He has a jam session every fourth Sunday at the Little Rock MB Zion Church downtown. I think it's called the African Cultural Center.
It's the first church, right? And the new
right,
they
the
built the new
church,
one, right? They built the new one right next to it. Okay, great.
He's a great guy. He's so encouraging. He has a wonderful band. Guitarist that he has working for him, Van Sachs. He has Gerard Benson. He has Tommy Green playing
Van
drums.
Sachs, you mentioned that name earlier.
Yes.
Okay, someone who you've worked with.
Yes,
okay.
well, as
a mentor,
yes. As a mentor, yes.
Awesome.
And he has Carl Ratliff. He has a wonderful band.
Now, when is this going to start back up again, Mayhue?
He does his from April until October.
Okay.
The fourth Sunday, April through October. From 3 until 6.
So we've got something to look forward to, guys.
Yes.
We can go down there and check out Mayhue and Tyrone and everybody, and we can be involved in that. Okay, that's great. Who else? I know there's somebody else.
Eric Bryce has a jam session on Monday nights called The Experience. He's a really wonderful guitar player, a great musician, humble guy, very good friend. He's really good to work with.
Now, where's that at exactly? And I think I might have been there once, but can you tell me exactly where it's located? And is it gospel, jazz, gospel,
well, you know,
jazz?
it's funny. Like during the jam session, he's just about does any kind of music. It could be blues, it could be R&B, it could be funk, pop. But he does have an hour. He has an hour where it's gospel music.
Okay.
It's completely gospel. And he has a special guest there that he invites to come in. So he's been, very good to be working with him. And there's several people I've met. There's Philip Whack here, saxophone player. There's a young 16-year-old kid. His name is Sean Mason, one of the best piano players you're gonna hear.
You told me about him.
If you go hear him play, he plays at Sullivan Steakhouse.
You told me he was a prodigy.
When LaBelle Bradford is not there, I think he calls him, but he's a wonderful piano player. LaBelle is also. But those, just to name a few, I mean, those guys are
really
awesome.
stand out. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. I look forward to hearing all of them play. Now, what about you? What are you playing these days? What's some of your favorite tunes? What's going on with you? Where are you performing at? Just give us the scoop.
Well, right now, I've been concentrating on writing original material and playing original material. I do love playing classic jazz tunes. I'm still trying to learn as many classic jazz tunes as I possibly can. I probably learn maybe 2 or 3 jazz tunes per week. And I practice 3 or 4 hours a day.
Right.
All I do is just play music and teach.
Very disciplined. Very disciplined.
I try to do that.
Give me some songs that you really like.
I love Black Orpheus.
Okay.
It's a tune of a movie. But all the jazz tunes, whether it's Blue Bossa, Around Midnight, whether it's oh my goodness, so many Equinox, all blues, just the classic ones.
And I'd love to hear you play all of them and any of them. Now, what about you mentioned that you write. What kind of stuff are you writing? What inspires you to write? We hadn't talked about this before.
Yes,
that's a surprise to me.
I spent more because I learned that you really, if you want to do well financially, you have to have your own tunes.
Right.
So I write my own tunes so that when I get an opportunity to do a CD,
Mm-hmm.
I have all original tunes. Hopefully all these other musicians out there will wind up playing my tunes, and they'll be considered classic jazz tunes one day, maybe when I'm dead and gone.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Is there any one that you've been working on lately that's really just inspired you, got your attention? What do you love right now that you're?
You know, I get inspiration every day from just doing everyday things. If I go to the grocery store, or if I go to the wherever, and I see people out and I look at how people interact with one another, my friends, the things that they go through personally, you know, I get inspired doing all kinds of things. And people like you inspire me. This is an inspiration seeing you do this interview.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it very, very much. We want to know what is the name of your band and what is your website? Give us some information on that kind of stuff. Where can we hear you play?
Sure.
And you talked about weddings, and I don't know if that's South Carolina, North Carolina, but how can people find you? I don't know if you go to the Double Door or where you go, but where have you been
Sure.
performing at lately?
And I play with a group called Jazz Revolution, which is really a corporate band / wedding band, and we play all over. We do North and South Carolina, and I'm doing a jazz jam session this coming Saturday, December 27th, from 9 to 12 in Spartanburg.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and hear about that jam session and the others that you're going to be holding in the future.
Sure.
Okay. Mayhue, we are so lucky that you could visit with us today. I I've
Thank
just
you.
enjoyed myself so
It's
much.
been an honor being here. Appreciate you asking me.
Thank you. We want you to come back.
I will.
We want to know what you're working on. We're going to keep up with you. And once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, until next time, this has been UpFront. Have a good week. Thank you.